The Nigeria Television Authority, NTA, presents the 13-part groundbreaking documentary series, Seeing is Believing. A production of Nasarawa State Government, Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism. Don't miss this unique chronicle. See the vision of His Excellency Umaru Tanko Almakura for Nasarawa State unraveled in the documentary series Seeing is Believing.
I have always said Nasarawa State is a state in a hurry.
Produced and directed by Zuma Award-winning film director Yakubu Lamai. Every Saturday, 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. on NTA. Don't miss Seeing is Believing.
When I came on board, I found that Nasarawa State could cultivate any kind of crops. We have riches waiting to be tapped.
Government is desirous in making sure that the people, the farmers, have sufficient input as far as fertilizer is concerned.
As far as water is concerned, so far there is no local government and government area unit wards in Nasarawa State that has not been attended to.
When Umaru Tanko Almakura took office as governor of Nasarawa State in 2011, he came with the notion that rural development in Nigeria constitutes a fundamental problem and that over the years rural development has been neglected by successive governments in most states of the Federation, including Nasarawa State. Governor Umaru Tanko Almakura felt people in villages and hamlets were never beneficiaries of the dividends of democracy, and that most people regard rural areas as villages infested with diseases, superstition, poverty, lethargy, low income, and low productivity. This conviction of Umaru Tanko Almakura to turn things around led him to initiate an integrated action plan and sustainable policy framework towards rural transformation and the systematic improvement of life for all rural dwellers in Nasarawa State.
This document, which is the Rural Development Master Plan for Nasarawa State, paid for, sponsored by His Excellency, during preparation of this document, we visited every nook and cranny of Nasarawa State to establish the developmental gap of all these communities in the state. And the idea is to approach it from a laissez-faire angle. In other words, to each based on what it needs. To each based on what it needs. So the approach is what you need, you get, not a blanket approach. His Excellency is interested in what happens in rural areas.
He is quite familiar and is quite knowledgeable of the important role that the rural people play in the development of not only Nasarawa State but very many other states. And he doesn't want to undermine this reservoir of support and energy that is latent in the honorable people of this country, more so of Nasarawa State.
This passed through Gidan Buba, Uga Junction, Gidan Agu, Gidan Makba, Alawa Ghana, to mention just a few. So we will connect all these communities with culverts in the next 2 months.
Well, he's a man who certainly knows where he comes from, and he knows where to get to, and his constituencies are the people who made him, in the sense that he's not giving to self-aggrandizement, and the population of people who rallied around him did so because he identified with them, and he did not concentrate his attention in developing the metropolis as we know them in many parts of Nasarawa State, but he wanted to give the people in the hinterland a new lease of life, whereby they can be accepted and regarded as important contributors to the development of Nasarawa State.
Never before in the history of governments of Nasarawa State has any administration paid such attention to these areas that I've talked about. I mean, water supply, electricity, rural roads, health, education in our rural areas especially. So far, a lot has been spent, a lot has been invested in these areas. The ideal model schools are there for everyone to see. The primary healthcare clinics, at the moment, Nasarawa State is almost meeting up with UN standards of distance between one primary healthcare clinic and the next. That's as far as those basic sectors are concerned. As to rural roads, we are going beyond just construction of earth roads. His Excellency the Governor has ensured that every local government in Nasarawa State is provided not only with good and quality roads, but bitumen, well-paved roads for anyone to see. All you need to do is go around all the local governments in the state, and you will find that so much has been invested into roads. No local government has been left behind. No development area has been left behind.
Within Kiana, we have found that the existing road that was constructed more than 25 years ago has a collapsed culvert. The bus culvert is collapsing because water is seeping under the concrete. We have also decided to rehabilitate that, in addition to adding 1 or 2 kilometers of road right into Kiana Township. And like I say, this year the emphasis of my administration will be 100% given to rural areas. Their infrastructure in terms of roads and bridges, their schools, their hospitals.
The important activities we find in the metropolis of countries are performed by villagers. So if you can get them to come to town and perform such feats, why not give them the opportunity to do so in their own homes, without the trouble of having to travel miles and miles and miles and go and serve people displaying the same sort of intelligence, knowledge and skills. They should do it in their own villages. But then you see, you have to encourage them.
We are going to use the surveillance headquarters that is here. We drop in doctors twice a week in 3 very remote areas, so that we will give quality health care to people whose terrain will not allow doctors and other health workers to access them.
This is designated urban areas. There is a functioning urban water supply scheme. A new one is being constructed in Wamba, local government. A new one was constructed in Nasarawa, making 2 for Nasarawa town.
I'm sure with this kind of support from the community, my administration will still try to expand the scope of providing other infrastructures in Nasarawa.
Other water work is being rehabilitated so far close to 1.8 billion has been spent in Mada Water Works for turnaround maintenance to rehabilitate it. It was constructed more than 25 years ago with a capacity for the need for turnaround maintenance in 10 years. Up to last year, it hasn't been maintained. Total rehabilitation is going on. Replacement of all the high-rise pumps and all necessary equipment that have been replaced. And that's a major regional water supply scheme for covering 3 big local governments, Bakwanga, Kokona, and Kefi. It supplies water to 30% of Nasarawa State. A new water scheme is being constructed in Nasarawa town. A new water scheme has been constructed in Toto. The water works is being rehabilitated at the moment. His Excellency has approved the contract for the dredging of the Lafia Dam, that's Lafia Water Works River Amba. The overhead storage reservoir is being rehabilitated as I speak. The electricity component of the water works has completely been overhauled to ensure that it can carry the pumps within the water works. That's for Lafia. Duma Water Works also, His Excellency has approved that it should be rehabilitated. At the moment, the Obi local government's water scheme, His Excellency is approving that it should be rehabilitated. But 2 key settlements in Obi, that's Adudu and Gidan Idom communities, the boreholes have been completed. As I speak to you, the commissioning will take place in a few days' time. Awi local government Excellency has approved for the construction of rehabilitation of its water works. None of the local government of the 13 has not been addressed. And the same with the 18 local governments that do not have urban water supply schemes, as many of the boreholes as required have so far been constructed.
We have awarded over 625 number of culverts across the state, and bridges, and we have committed close to about 1.5 billion naira for those small culverts and small bridges. The Gidambuba Uga bridge, which is a 6-cell culvert that is supposed to take large volume of water, it's like a big bridge. It is the link to so many farming settlements of Uga, Gidam Makwa, Gidam Aku, Abulagu, Padamam Bauna, Company, and the rest of them. Within that stretch, there are about 7 big culverts, and I'm happy to say that all the culverts are being attended to, especially the big bridge between Uga and Gidambuba. These are the approach we are making towards ensuring that we add value to the quality of life of people living in the rural areas.
It is very normal for you to see His Excellency Governor Umaru Tanko Almakura mention the names of some of the most remote areas in Nasarawa State. He knows these places, he's been to these places, and he understands the plight of these people. Now, that is why His Excellency Governor Umaru Tanko Almakura believes that for government to curb the rural-urban drift, where you find people abandoning their villages and all migrating to the big cities, government needs to deliberately take development back to the rural areas. We have to make our villages very attractive. We have to develop these places and provide basic infrastructure. That is why rural development, is very critical and occupies an essential and integral part of inclusive governance as practiced today in Nasarawa State.
The leadership of local government always gravitate to the town to spend more time in the town at the expense of taking care of their people in the villages. So anybody who would place premium on developing rural areas with the concept of a township being at the back of their minds, then we stand a better chance of developing local manpower that will make inputs into their own environment. They will not like going to where they will not have anywhere to sleep because they are at home. They go to the market, come back and go home to sleep with their children. You see, and the children will not have to go to town begging or doing one thing or the other.
Even as His Excellency Governor Umaru Tanko Almakura gives a new lease of life to villages and hamlets in Nasarawa State, he is conscious about striking a balance between urban upgrade and rural development.
Being an inclusive government, we do not want to leave any section unaffected. So while we are driving the process of urban upgrade and urban renewal by ensuring the right structures are done in the right place to facilitate flexibility of urban areas and making them something close to smart areas. Like for instance, in Lafia, where we stand now used to be the reading room, the Madala, in Lafia, way back in the 50s, 40s. This used to be the reading room, where you have an ordinary reading room with books, I think it's right, since 1930 something up to 1970. Now we have decided to ensure that we have an upgrade, taking into cognizance the actual landmarks in an area by upgrading it to a modern status. Now it is e-library. If our grandfathers wake up from their graves and they're asked to come and read in Lafia, they will go to the e-library. And this had been the library since the 50s, 40s, 30s. Now, why we have the water and fire brigade is why it has always been, but now we have upgraded it to a modern fire brigade. And to complement the services of e-library, we have now given JAM office here, where examination halls are built just at the background, so that virtually all the activities will be flexible with one another or compatible. So that is the extent to which we are promoting urban upgrade or urban renewal. But at the same time, if you go to the rural areas, we try to ensure that we strike also another balance. The existing roads that link villages to villages are made to ensure that they are upgraded. And the seasonal problems they have about culverts, bridges, now Nasarawa State is transiting from wooden bridges to concrete bridges, which have longer lifespan. Now virtually most bridges in Nasarawa State are converted to concrete bridges and culverts. So these are the balance we are trying to do in order to ensure that we have inclusiveness in our pace for development in both the rural area and the urban areas.
Even though by the new federal government policy on electricity, the reform that has happened in the electricity sector, the state government ordinarily shouldn't be responsible for provision of electricity infrastructure. But I can assure you that because the people of Nasarawa State still believe and know no one but government as far as basic needs are concerned, they still look up to the state. And of course, His Excellency the Governor has never lowered his guard and has lived up to expectation to ensure that from time to time, electrification projects are undertaken.
Today marks an important step in the journey of Nasarawa State, Your Excellency, and we're privileged to play a part in that journey. As the Honorable Commissioner said, this grant that we're providing is based on results, and it's a grant that's up to $500,000 to the state, and it's the first of its kind that the Gates Foundation has done here in Nigeria. This is the first time we've embarked on a partnership like this with a state government and a grant to the state government based on results. And I think this is demonstration of the commitment of the people of Nasarawa, the leadership of Nasarawa, and Your Excellency.
Having the World Bank here, having the MPHCD here, and BMGF is a testament to that coordination under your leadership to actually work towards this new partnership to strengthen health systems in Nasarawa State.
You know, are we just serving the rich alone? The poor people of this state deserves, you know, to get the best service anywhere where they're located. They don't have to come to Lafia for everything. You know, they can stay in their village and still get the best of what the health system of this state can provide for them. So this is where what the BMGF people, you know, are doing is critically important, because they are taking us a step higher. You know, building institutions, it's the institutions that will deliver at the end of the day, making the institutions so strong. You know, we are working at the facility level. They are working at the institutional level higher here, and they are making sure that what goes on in the facilities are coordinated, and at the end of the day, we have the service that we want.
We want to create as many opportunities as possible to ensure that these interventions and support we are making reaches the grassroots. It's not just building structures in urban areas or inaccessible areas. Our challenge now is to extend these services to areas that are unreachable, areas that are hard to get to, and to the kind of people that find it difficult to access this support. We have over 700 primary healthcare centers. We are piloting about 400 and something. Our aim and objective is to ensure that all the 700 primary healthcare centers are being affected by this kind of support and standards, so that from one corner of the state to another, primary healthcare center will be similar, will be standardized, and will be rewarding, and will add a lot of value.
The government has committed a whopping sum of 1 billion naira for the procurement of 10,000 metric tons of compound fertilizer at 5,500 naira per bag. That is the cost as far as government is concerned. But considering the plight of our farmers, we have decided to heavily subsidize the commodity with a sum of 4,000 per bag.
The cost of fertilizer and access to fertilizer have been made easier and simpler, and cost has been greatly subsidized. For example, this year, His Excellency has approved more than 130 trucks of fertilizer, which we as a ministry, in collaboration with our other sister ministries, had made sure has reached the rural dwellers.
From the records available, it would appear that in the next 2 years, Nasarawa State is likely going to be the center of fertilizer distribution, not only in the North Central Zone, but in the country at large.
The Chinese company had come to Nasarawa State here after their discussion with His Excellency in China, and we went to around the three senatorial districts of the state, and they took sample of our soil, meaning what is going to happen by next year, hopefully, everything being equal, is fertilizers that are going to be produced that are tailor-made, okay, to the soil of these senatorial districts. This time around, the soil samples have been taken and they are going to be studied, and the fertilizers are going to be produced that are consistent with that particular soil. Governor Umaru Tanko Almakura has been gracious. Since he came into office, there are a lot of things have been going on in the direction of agriculture. Improved seedlings have been distributed across these local governments that I've talked about, and farm implements and inputs have been given.
To encourage them further, in anticipation that we will embark on large-scale bulk rice farming, government has decided to support the Rice Millers Association by taking the responsibility of paying all the necessary costs for this collaboration.